my 5 favorite fragrance Dubois fragrances that I'm wearing right now. Talked about this last night on an Instagram live with the creative director, Daniel Henry Wood from Fragrance Dubois. And so I figured I'd do a video today for those of you who couldn't see what I talked about last night. This is a good one. Stay tuned. Find out what they are coming up next. Welcome back everybody to JoelTheNose, and today's video, as you can see from my introduction, is going to be about Fragrance Dubois. I've got a bunch of bottles here. I actually have 5 bottles with me, in front of me, at my disposal, to talk about my 5 favorite fragrances from Fragrance Dubois. And I say that because these are the ones I'm wearing the most right now. So, may not be, quote, favorite of all time, but these are the ones I'm wearing the most right now. So, it's hard to say, hey, these aren't my favorites because, sometimes we pick our favorites and they're ones we don't even wear, but we're just in our minds, we think they're our favorites. So, all right, without further ado, let me get right into this. And this is in no particular order. I'm going to put number 5 because I talk about this one all the time. It was in my top 5 complimented list recently of all time, and that's New York Intense. New York Intense, this, I've described this many times, picked this up about a year ago. Actually, this is the first Fragrance Dubois fragrance that I personally added to my collection. New York Intense, it is woody, it's sexy, it's a little dirty, it's a little animalic, but not too much. And it is just screams that kind of boldness, brashness of New York City. It's New York City in a bottle, if you've ever been to New York City. I get tons of compliments on this. Again, it's very manly. It's very, it's a little bit dark. Again, a little bit edgy, a little bit risky. I don't know. It's just so many cool things about this fragrance, and it lasts all day on my skin. Tons of compliments. So that will be, yeah. You know what? I guess I'm not going to do an order, but that's the 5th one. So let's go to my number 4 fragrance, and I'm going to talk about this one next. Is actually one of the newer releases from the brand that I found out last night from the creative director, Daniel Henry Wood, is just flying off the shelves. It's become extremely popular. That is Cavort. Cavort, by the way, is an extrait de parfum. So this is extremely concentrated. As you can also see, even though this just was released back in April to the United States when I first started using it, I'm already out. So I'm already going to need a new bottle. I've been using this all summer long. I talked about this last night. It's been one of my most frequently used summer fragrances. I love what it does. It's very sexy. This is a perfect, by the way, unisex fragrance. New York Intense, which I just talked about, to me is more of a masculine fragrance, no doubt. This is extremely unisex, very good for either men or women. It's got a beautiful saffron opening with some spicy cardamom, and then it has these really exquisite white florals, geranium, really good date night fragrance. If you want to put this, again, man or woman, beautiful date fragrance. And one of the surprising notes is the dry down into a really elegant incense. If you like incense, it's one of my absolute all-time favorite fragrance notes. This has a really good incense in the dry down, just so sexy. So Cavort, been wearing a lot this summer. That comes into my number 4 choice. Let's go to number 3. And I'm gonna go, this one is a little bit of a surprise, one of the oldest fragrances from the house. This is Oud Noir Intense. Look at the juice there. Oud Noir Intense. This came out in 2013, which is actually almost 10 years ago when Fragrance Dubois was founded. So this is one of the early fragrances. Oud is really kind of the calling card of this house, Fragrance Dubois. They have their own oud farms where it's sustainably grown, and a lot of other major niche houses from around the world actually purchase their oud from Fragrance Dubois. So oud is really what they do well. And this is an interesting fragrance because when you first smell it, either from basically the bottle or when you put it on your skin, you get a punch of very strong, I would say almost animalic oud, pungent oud. And I can see where people, if you're in a shop or a boutique like Osme Perfumery here in Miami, and you spray it maybe on a scent strip or even on your skin, you may at first be like, whoa, if you're not used to oud, you may be a little bit overtaken. But, this is a very big but, you have to let it dry down. That oud lasts for about an hour, and then it has this remarkably, actually beautiful dry down that is, the oud steps back in the fragrance and actually kind of now becomes a supporting role. So it's like the oud starts out as the lead singer of the band, and then for the rest, and it comes out blaring, an opening song, and then it steps back and goes onto the drums and lets the other band sing. The other members of the band sing. It really allows them to shine. And some of the notes in here has, when you get into the heart note, there's a beautiful rose and jasmine, amber, vanilla, musk, and of course the oud, but it almost has like a soapy-like quality as it's drying down. I love soapy fragrances, and this kind of has a soapy-like dry down. But again, try it. Extremely good oud. Last night, Daniel talked about how when they make their perfumes, they actually add the oud in after they've already combined the other fragrances. So that way the oud is almost like a separate note that helps blend the other fragrances together. It's not just mixed in with all the other fragrances at the same time. So really unique perfume style that they have. Let's go to, that was number 3. I'm losing my train of thought here. Get all confused when I smell these great fragrances. I'm gonna go number 2, another unbelievably great summer fragrance. I've been wearing this one like Cavort a lot during the summer, but this one I've been wearing the most, and that is Milano. Milano, again, came out about 2 years ago, one of the newer fragrances from the house. This opening is so beautiful. It's spicy citrus, it's saffron. It's got some, you can see the juice there. Again, blend this saffron with the spicy citrus, but what really sets this one apart for me is the fruity note. They have a fruity note, and for those of you who are fans of, say, a fragrance like Herba Pura from Serjov, this has that kind of quality. That a couple years ago, that was a very big, popular note, that fruity note. It's an indiscriminate note. You can't say it's like pineapple or grapefruit or raspberry or cherry. It's more of a kind of a luscious, watery, juicy fruit that's a little bit sweet. Again, perfectly unisex fragrance, great for the summer, great for right now as we're still in these kind of hot months in most places around the world, or actually a lot of places, I shouldn't say most places. What else about this? It is just, again, one of the things I really like about it is you have this, again, this spicy, citrusy, fruity opening, which lends it to perfect for this time of year, but the dry down, all of a sudden you have this leathery amber dry down, which kind of hits you out of nowhere. I love fragrances. I love so much when a fragrance takes you by surprise. When I first wore this, I didn't look at the note breakdown. I immediately smelled the citrusy, fruity opening, and then that leather dry down, just like boom, kind of like boom, it like hits you like this, wakes you up, and it's just so beautiful, and it's such a good surprise, and such a unique composition of the dry down. This is not a linear dry down. This is a very, very complex fragrance, and it's extremely popular. That's my number 2. And number 1 I'm going to talk about today, total surprise. This is Cannabis Intense. Cannabis Intense also came out in 2020, about 2 years ago. And wow, this one, I gotta say right off the bat, I'm not typically a fan of cannabis fragrances. This has been a trend starting about 2 or 3 years ago, where a lot of houses were making these cannabis fragrances. And sometimes, like one of the really popular ones is, I believe it's Cannabis Blue from Fragrance du Bois. That is more of a pungent, strong, green, odoriferous smell of cannabis. If you like that smell, that's all you. This is for the person who wants to try a cannabis fragrance, but they don't necessarily like the smell of marijuana, pot, obviously cannabis, the main ingredient. So it is, when you smell this, right from the beginning, it's spicy, it's green, but the cannabis is there. You don't really smell it, but really helps give these other fragrance notes a punch. It's like a nice punch. It makes it very, again, energetic, lively, this fragrance. The opening, again, really love the cardamom in the opening, which lends to a spiciness that I love. I love cardamom. It's one of my favorite fragrance notes. It also gets a little bit smoky. So this is a fragrance that I'm starting to wear as we go into the fall months. I love the smokiness. It's also woody, and again, perfect for as it starts to cool down a little bit and gets a little bit, cooler. This is a great fragrance because of those qualities. And it also, like Oud Noir Intense, as the dry down goes along, has a little bit of a soapiness smell to it. And I love soapy fragrances. Soapy fragrances are absolutely one of my favorite classification of fragrances. So this one, again, I love it so much because it surprised me. I love a fragrance that surprises me. I was not expecting to necessarily like it when I first smelled it. And as you can see, I have it here. I love it. Do not be afraid to try it if you are a little bit, I guess, reticent, or if you don't particularly like the smell of cannabis. Don't let that fool you, because the name Cannabis Intense, right? When I first smelled it, I thought, okay, this is going to be an intense cannabis smell. It's not. It's not at all. Take my word for it. But of course, try it. Try it. You got to try it and see what you think yourself. So that's it. Those are the 5 that I'm wearing right now. I will say another one I'm wearing a lot. I don't have the bottle with me right now. I have one coming, and that is London Spice. London Spice to me is one of the best fresh fragrances that has come out in a while. It is one of their newer fragrances in the last year. I will be talking about that soon in another video, but London Spice, love it. There you have it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back soon with another video. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for watching us last night on the Instagram Live. Loved your questions and your support. I'll be back soon with another video. As always, peace, love, and perfume.